Welcome back to Spooky Happy Hour. I'm your host, Bree, and on this week's episode, I'm joined by Savannah, best known and seen on YouTube, with her husband and fellow ghost hunter and foodie, Kalani Ghost Hunter. Thanks
Yep.
for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hadn't seen you since Madison, so we saw each other at MadCon for the first time. What a fun event.
It was so fun. No ghost hunting, but I don't know if you ghost hunted. I did not.
Just like during the day
I
in
was
two separate
yapping.
spots, and then yeah, right, just like talked literally the whole time. So
Certified
no
yapper.
time.
Yeah, I think you and I talked for it was a long time.
Hours.
Yeah. The time went by so fast. It was so much fun though.
It was, and it was my first year, so I wasn't, like, expecting much,
Yeah.
because I've learned that when I go into these places, I'll have some expectations, and then it doesn't ever really live up to my stuff, so I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna go and see what's up." But there were so many vendors, the day was beautiful, and then, like, the night event afterwards was just, like, more normal than I thought it was gonna be, if that makes sense.
I will say that that was the first year it had been that way, I think, at
Mm,
MadCon. So, they used to break everyone off into groups and we would go ghost hunt. So, Kalani would have to take a group and whatever. And I didn't like that because nobody got to talk to each other.
mhm.
So, it was ghost hunting the whole time. And then there was free roam at the end. But the way it was this last time where you could just ghost hunt if you want to, hang out if you want to, I enjoy that because we all come from so far to these things. And it's
Mhm.
one of the few times a year everyone gets to hang out. So I think it's better that way because you actually get to talk and enjoy people's company
Yeah, I had
in a
no
haunted
idea.
location, you
Right.
know.
I
Yeah.
had no idea it was like that before, because I do think that that is what made it so great, was being able to just, like, hang out and talk to everybody and play cornhole over here, like, sit down and play cards over there, or like you said, just kinda, like, free roam and hang out.
Yeah.
So, I'm
Oh,
super excited for it.
can we address me and Brie already talked about it. This chair is embarrassing. It's so embarrassing how large it is. It's Kalani's chair, and, I'm also looking way up high because this is set up for Kalani. So just ignore where I'm looking and ignore the massive chair.
It literally looks like you are in a spaceship and you're about to, like, take off from here
I'm like, "I'm taking over your planet."
into another galaxy, and you're just gonna reign supreme. It looks like a
Yes.
throne, really.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Queen Sav here.
Coming from Kalani's lair.
Right? Oh, I just saw your story or like a post or something. Where did you guys go for your spooky date? Because that looked so cool.
Oh, it's called Raven's Hollow. It's in the town where we live, and this guy,
Love it.
he does, a lot of art in Nashville, and so he's, super into art stuff, and I, funny enough, hate scary stuff. I can't do
Mm.
haunted houses, I can't do scary movies, I've never watched one. I can't even
Never?
watch No, I can't even watch Goosebumps,
Oh my gosh.
I'm such a chicken. But I love spooky stuff. I don't like scary stuff. And I was like, I
Mm.
wanna go do something spooky. And so because he's really artsy, it's more of a spooky art installation, and it's, through the
Oh.
woods on a trail. It was so fun.
Through the woods. That's to me is
Yeah.
scary.
No, well, I mean, maybe by myself, but I had Kalani with me.
Is
He
that why
would
you can go into all these haunted locations too, just because like you can go with your hubby?
Yeah, no, if I went by myself actually, no, would never go by myself or anyone else. It literally has to be him. I just feel like when he's with me, nothing bad will happen.
Yeah. Well, it goes to show like how much trust that you have,
Yeah.
that
Maybe,
everything will be fine.
a false sense of security because obviously bad stuff can happen to anyone, but when we're together, I'm just like, "No, he's got it."
Well, it's like
He
whatever gets you through.
Yeah, he knows everything. If I have a question, he knows it. Where I'm never gonna get in trouble or anything because, he's always there and gonna protect me, so that's my, false sense of security.
It was so funny. I went to the Cambria County Jail last weekend,
Where's
and I did
that?
like a in Pennsylvania. It's like 10
Oh,
minutes from my house. Um, Nick and Katrina were there for Paranormal Lockdown. The guys from Project Fear were there when they were on Destination Fear, and it was shut down for a really long time. And then they just opened it back up since like 2020. I think it went open like maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
mhm.
And so I went, and one of my friends has a crew named Paranormal Theory, and they're from Jersey. And they were like, "Yeah, we'll go down, but like we're filming." And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, like, don't poop my pants on camera. Like, I've done this enough not on camera to know that I won't, but like, this
Yeah.
would be the time that that
Yeah.
would happen. And they do a 30-minute solo on every single episode. And they're like, well, you have to be in it. Like, you have to like
You
put
have
your
no
name
choice.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the name of the game. And I was like, there's 6 of us. Like, what's like, is it really gonna be me? Like, probably not.
Yeah.
And yeah, totally picked that out. And it was me. And I was like, great. So we get up to like, there's 4 tiers of jail cells. And I get up
Yeah.
to the top one. And they're like, we're going to put the ghost tube seer goggles on you. And we're going to like duct tape it to your head. I was like,
Lovely.
I feel like this is going a little too far. Like, I just will promise not to take it off.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, maybe we'll just duct tape your legs to the chair. It's like, if you guys have to use the duct tape, I guess just do that
Yeah,
because
whatever.
at least I can like see, like I'll get take it off to see, and then I can like pick up my chair and run away if I really need to.
Waddle away with your duct tape around you. Yeah.
I was like, that'll be like probably the best. And so we get up there and they're putting this ear goggles on my head, and they had a security guard, and he just like wanted to make sure that like he knew what we were doing to kind of leave that area alone. And he's like, oh well, I have handcuffs from when I was a security officer. Why don't you just use those? And I'm like, Dylan, why the
Lovely.
fuck are you here?
Yeah.
Nobody asked you.
Yeah.
Like, I was getting
Lovely.
away with duct tape on my legs, and I knew I could at least take the chair with me. But now I'm handcuffed to a jail cell, and you all are going to leave me.
Yeah.
And so they do. They all leave. I'm sitting there handcuffed. And then I start hearing so much stuff like the moment that they leave. And so I thought they were like packing up all the equipment. There was like a really long hallway to get to the other side of the jail. So I just figured I can hear you packing up shit and the noise is carrying down. Did not know until afterwards. And he's reviewing the footage and sends me like side by side of me and what they were doing at the same time. Not them.
That's crazy.
Like false senses of security in my brain being like, it's just them packing up stuff. Had I
Yeah.
thought it was paranormal, I might have shit my pants for real.
Yeah. That's like in those moments, I'm the same. Like I talk myself out of
Mhm.
it being not that the paranormal freaks me out, but I feel like that's just like a natural instinct to be like, oh, that's a living person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that it kept me a little bit more like calm, cool, and collected because he was like, if it was me and I heard that, like I probably would have dashed. And I was like, but you wouldn't have if in your brain, like I couldn't see anything. You know,
Yeah.
if I saw a table move across the floor, then yeah, I would be out of there. I would know that that's where it came from, but I
Right.
couldn't see anything. And I think for me, that was probably the time where if I didn't have the goggles on and could have seen stuff and could have known that they weren't there at all or they weren't even close by, then I think that it would have maybe scared me a little bit more. But I
I
like the feeling of being scared just a little bit.
I no. I could go my entire life without it. Kalani sent me off on my own in Waverly Hills. It
Oh,
was
nuh-uh.
literally yeah, literally just he and I at Waverly Hills, and he sent me off with our infrared camera and no flashlight. So, like, I had a little tiny screen on the back of the infrared camera, and that's how I saw to get around.
Oh my
And I
gosh,
was
how long were you by yourself?
like 30 minutes.
That place is huge.
It's really huge, and then that's what she said. It's really huge, and then whenever you're there and it's just like 2 of you, it feels even bigger because, like, you cannot hear the other person.
Yeah.
And, like, it's so massive, and I'm not very good with directions, so I knew, like, whenever he got me where I was going, if I did get scared or whatever, I would, like, freak out and not know how to get back. It was okay, but no
No.
one told me that up there they had, like, plastic tarps on the windows, and so I almost shit my pants because I was like, "What is that?" It was the wind blowing the plastic, but it was still really scary.
Well, when it catches you off guard and like you don't know for that split second, and then
Yeah.
you get like that overwhelming sense of relief too of like, okay, I'm not crazy and it
Oh,
wasn't something paranormal.
the bats are so
My God.
bad. So bad, and
They
I
chased me
couldn't
down the hall at Madison once and I was like, guys, I can't move.
yeah, they're so bad, and I couldn't really see them, but I could feel, like, the breeze of whenever they would go by, and then you watch the infrared footage back and you can just like see them like diving all in front of the camera. And I had no idea. No clue.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Just
Yeah.
walking through a vat of bats.
Yes, yeah.
Where's like one location that did maybe scare you?
Um Ooh, the Monroe Demon House in Indiana. So have you been there?
No, not
No?
yet.
Do you know about it?
Mhm.
Okay, so there's like a hole in the wall down in the basement, and you have to like get on a ladder to get up in the hole in the wall. Okay. So Kalani was like, I'm gonna go in the hole. This sounds so wrong. I'm gonna go in the hole, and then you're gonna stand out here and like film by yourself. So he was in the hole in the wall that I think they found human remains, but he
Mhm.
was trying to like provoke whatever was in there, and I was out there by myself just filming, and I forget what he said, but he started really like poking and trying to get something to happen, and I thought my appendix was rupturing. Like,
Nuh-uh.
that's the only pain that I could describe.
Just like all of a sudden.
Yes, all of a sudden, like no easement into, just like it felt like somebody was just twisting a knife inside of my stomach. And I think it's on YouTube. I think I like fall to the ground and like I'm on my knees. So Kalani's in the hole in the wall, right? And I can't get him out of the hole in the wall because I'm bent over in pain.
Yeah.
And he's a large individual and it's not that big of a hole up there. So, like, it was a whole thing. I was genuinely so afraid. And I was like, I think that maybe something more is wrong than it being paranormal activity, but it turned out to be nothing.
You left and you were good to go?
When he got out of the wall and came out there to me, it completely went away.
So weird that it happened just when you guys were separated.
Yes, when we were separated. And that genuinely freaked me out because I've never had anything really harm me painfully that way.
Mhm. Like physically really get to you.
Yes, yeah. Like I've had my hair pulled and like my clothes like those kind of things. But
Sure.
to be like doubled over in pain, I couldn't figure out like, do I need to go to the hospital or is this something messing with me? And I mean, obviously now like I still don't know what happened, but the fact that when he got out of the wall and was with me, it went away just kind of like
Well, if
made
you're
me.
contemplating, "Do I need to call 911?" then
Yeah, it
it's
was
pretty a
bad.
serious scare.
Yes, yeah. But when he got out and it went away, I was like, I think something was just messing with me.
Mhm. Taking the opportunity where both of you were,
Yeah,
apart to do something to you.
right. Because I think I give off pretty anxious energy. So,
Mm.
like, even in moments where I think that maybe I don't necessarily feel scared, but I think that I just generally give off anxious energy. And I feel like if there are spirits that are dead, that they pick up on that. Now are This is a whole nother topic, but I don't when it comes to ghost hunting, I don't really know if we're ghost hunting for dead things now. But then
Right,
I
with
was
the whole, like, multiverse, time slips, all of the stuff.
yes, all the crazy stuff. But then I was like, they definitely probably pick up on my energy.
Mhm. Well, I mean, that
So
kind of happened, not maybe the anxious energy, but you did give off an energy at the last, episode that I had watched with you guys at Beale Manor. Just your confidence, I think, in talking with children or talking with children, and playing with them or understanding them that might be considered different at some point in time,
yeah,
and I think that just the empathy that you had, especially in the moments when I think Kalani was under, Estes and you got the word like bully and you were saying like someone bullies you. Yeah, you probably were called different and like you are not lesser than. Like I think that that type of energy and understanding also translates really well to either the afterlife or whoever it is that we are talking
right.
to.
I
Because
agree.
even in those moments, like you got your hair pulled, something touched your stomach and stuff too, but it didn't seem as scary for you in those moments because you just understood where it was possibly coming from.
Right. Yeah. No, that was just more of a cool experience. It wasn't scary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think when you give off that energy, though, they know what they can do. Like if you have anxious energy, then they know that they could probably heighten that. And if you don't, if you're empathic or you're really confident about something, or you are like a bigger person going in there with like big energy, then I think they know
Right.
that and can interact with you in that way.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why everyone's experiences are so different because we all give off such different energy.
Absolutely. And I know that you guys have primarily ghost hunted together, but you've always ghost hunted with other people too.
Mhm.
So when you do see someone else come with you guys, is it a different dynamic? Like, how does it change up the energy that you're used to when it's just the two of you?
That's a good question. I feel like Kalani and I are so when I say stuck in our ways, I don't mean in a bad way because, like, he and I love to do what we do together, and I feel like we together are a really well-oiled machine, and that's why we always investigate together. So I feel like whenever other people come in, it's like a little bit of an adjustment because it's new energy that we're not used to. Kalani and I are like homebodies, like even when we're not investigating, like we hang out with each other most of the time. So you add in being around new people while you're investigating. I think that it definitely does bring in a new energy, but never in a bad way, always in a good way. Just I feel like I myself have to focus more on the living people that we're with, and maybe whenever we're with other people, I don't notice the paranormal as much because I'm trying to like
Mhm.
focus on the living people that we're with, but it's always a good experience.
Absolutely. I think that like the point of paying attention to the people that you're around sometimes can be not like distracting, but more of a focus sometimes as to what's
Right.
going on. Because I've been on like public ghost hunts where there's 40 of us on a floor, and then an entire private investigation where there's 6 of us in a gigantic jail and like probably everywhere in between. And
Yeah.
I do think that I get more I'm always asking myself, like, is this my energy that I'm feeling? Or is this
Yeah.
paranormal energy? Or is it somebody next to me's energy? Because I don't know if you've heard about human design, but
No,
my human
explain it.
design type is a projector. So human design is a system that incorporates 5 different theories, like the chakras, the Kabbalah tree of life, astrology, quantum physics, like all of these things. And so you get your birthday, your birth time, the place that you were born, and you put it into this website and it'll tell you what type of energy that you are. And it gives kind of like, you know, the image of somebody where all of the chakras are there and it's like an illustration, but they're sitting kind of like cross-legged and like very zen. That's
Yes.
like the body graph. And then they have different geometric shapes. And those shapes represent energy centers. And those energy centers represent like certain themes. Like the head is for inspiration, the throat's for communication, all of that stuff. And if they're colored in, that means that you have energy that is always there. And
Mhm.
it's very fixed. And if you have white centers, it means that those are the parts of you that you are more influenced by your outside world
Mhm.
and you're here to gain wisdom from.
Okay.
So one type is like a generator, and they usually have a lot of defined centers, at least all the motor ones, and they keep you going in the world. And then it's like the whole spectrum to like a reflector, and the fifth energy type is all white. There is no colored energy.
Okay, I feel like
So
that is me, and the one you mentioned before is Kalani.
I would love to you'll have to check out your birth certificate and see if the birth time on there. Because when you
Oh
get it,
my
you'll
gosh, I
see
coulda
where
looked
it's
at
at.
that.
Well,
I did not even
sometimes
think about
they
that.
didn't have it on there, I think up until like 90 or 92. So yours might have it on there,
Yeah.
but and I think mine's a 90 and I think mine has it, but my mom was born in 66 and she doesn't have hers on there. So I don't know if it was like a federal thing to like put the I think it was a federal
Time?
thing to put the time on there after the 90s, but before that, it was kind of like hit or miss whether
Oh,
you were in a certain state or whatnot. So it might have it on there.
yeah, I should
Um
look.
but like when you get your chart, you'll kind of see, oh, okay, this is where I have fixed energy. This is where I know what that energy means. So it's like if you have your emotional solar plexus defined, it means that you could probably much more readily define your emotions, deal with them, know when enough is enough. But if it's open, then that's what you're here to learn about, to gain wisdom from.
Okay.
And so for me, all of my centers are pretty much open except for 2, and it's my identity center and my heart center, which really just means the only places where I have fixed energy is knowing who I am and knowing what I want.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm here to learn
Yeah.
about. So when I'm with people who have like fixed energy in their centers, they're constantly influencing me. So I think whenever I'm getting around other people, especially if I don't know what energy I'm getting, I always have to question myself in
Yeah.
terms of like, is this my stuff or is it somebody else's stuff? And then is it paranormal stuff? Because
Yes,
I just
yeah.
might be picking up on energy from the person next to me because maybe they had a bad morning that I don't know about, but
Right.
I'm feeling it affect them. And now I have to decide, is it me or is it them?
Yeah. That makes sense. That's cool though.
It'd be really fun. I think that I wonder, because all of the people that I drive really well with, like women,
Mhm.
all manifesting generators. I
Yeah.
have 3 distinct, very best friends, all manifesting generators. And then I have 2 friends that are like, I wouldn't say are like the best, but we are close, and they're generators. And my son's a generator. So I
Yeah.
don't know if me just being in my projectorness that like I like attract the people who have more energy,
Yeah.
so that I can kind of like almost like siphon off of them sometimes.
That makes sense.
Um,
Yeah.
I was reading a book where someone was like, yeah, if you know of like a generator or manifesting generator and you have more of your stuff open, bring them with you on like a study date or somewhere where you have to be really productive, and like you'll feel more inspired and you'll feel like you have more energy to get your thing done. So it would be really cool to see like what you guys are, to see how you maybe influence each other.
Yeah. I feel like whoever is what, I feel like we're probably opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm one thing, I don't think that we're the same thing.
What makes you say that? What?
He and I are just so vastly different, but like
Mhm.
all of our differences are like my strengths are his weaknesses and vice versa. So that's why I feel like we're really different, but we help each other because we're so different, if
Yeah,
that
it's
makes
like you
sense.
complement each other well. You like
Yeah.
round each other out.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the saying is true opposites attract. I mean, I know there's plenty of people that are together with someone that's like really similar to them, but
Sure.
yeah, I think you're just whenever you are so different, it's just natural to like fill in the blanks that the other person has.
Yeah, absolutely. And like lean into the strengths that you do have and not try to like constantly make up for them just because your partner might be greater in other areas than you are.
Right. Yeah.
And I think I see couples do that a lot. Like in my own therapy, I see people like try to be like the other person even though they're not that way. And I'm
Yeah.
like, sometimes you just gotta be you and like let that be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever you're together, like I know there are things that I do that is not great at and things that he does that even I like so many things he does. He's so smart that I just have like no idea where I would even start with. But it's never made me feel lesser than. If anything, I'm just like, okay, I'm with a person who can like pick up the slack for me. I can pick up the slack for him. Like neither of us have to change or feel like we have to meet the other person at this same level. We just always like balance each other out.
Yeah, and it's so nice because you don't have to second guess yourself either or second guess your partner of
Yeah.
like, "Oh, do they want me to be more like them in this area?" It's like you guys are free to
Right.
just be who you are together, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it makes ghost hunting especially really fun.
It does, yeah, and it makes it feel that's why I said feel like a well-oiled machine because we're never questioning each other, and we just, like, have our groove, and, like, I know I've got this, he knows he's got that, and it works.
Yeah. Does he, like to do the organization and, like, restock and stuff, or is that just all you?
Only me. He however, like, I showed him all of my TikToks that I had saved because I love watching those. I don't know what about it itches my brain the right way, but I showed him all these I was like, "Kalani, I love these videos." And he was like, "Why don't you make them?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, I've just never really been the one to, like, make the content, you know?
Mhm.
That's not anything I've ever enjoyed, it's always been him. But he went online to Amazon and ordered everything I needed to make the videos. He ordered, like,
Aw.
special ice trays and the buckets and the little water bottles you refill. It sounds so stupid, but, like, all the stuff that I needed to make these videos and surprise me with it, and it was, like, the sweetest thing ever. So
That is so sweet.
he doesn't enjoy it himself, but
But
he
he knows
does.
you do and will give
Yes.
you whatever it is that you need to make
Yeah.
that happen.
Yeah, and it's been so fun. Like, I go in my kitchen and just reorganize my fridge, like, that is my therapy.
Hell yeah. I think watching you reorganize your stuff is therapeutic to me as well.
I'm so glad.
I love the organization because I'm always looking for different hacks to make my life easier. And I just like to see something so neat and like in control.
Me too. Yeah, me too. I think it's because, like, the rest of my life has been so chaotic.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think that that's why I picked it, but I think that that's why I gravitated towards that because everything has been so chaotic. I'm like, well, this is one thing that I can keep organized. I know that like I have control over it. And it as stupid as it sounds, that in itself has been so therapeutic for me to like know that I have these things that like I'm in charge of and I can make sure that they're the way that I want them to be,
Yeah,
even
and
though it's my refrigerator.
I don't think it sounds stupid at all because like you said, like sometimes you're not even in your house for like a month or so at a time.
Yeah,
So having something that's predictable and easy and things that you have total control over when all of these other things you really might not. I
yeah.
totally understand why you would like to gravitate towards them and it's super satisfying.
It's cute too, like, I love making glitter ice.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna ask you, because you have a drink, do you have the skull ice cubes in them?
I use them all. I don't, but I do have a skull drink, and it is a, funnel cake latte.
Oh, look at you go. So is the like coffee itself funnel cake or did you add stuff
No, I
to
added
it?
stuff to it.
Okay, well, you know that I'm like a baby when it comes to coffee. So how like what's your favorite? What do you usually put in there? Do you have like a daily one you go to or
Yeah, daily pretty boring because I you can rack up a lot of calories with coffee, or at least I
never really
can.
thought about that, so that would probably make sense.
I can because I love, like, all the different flavors. So daily, I pretty much just do, like, an iced latte with sugar-free vanilla and, like, a little bit of honey. But
Oh.
if I'm getting fancy, then I have, like, caramel drizzle, white chocolate drizzle, I'll add in salted caramel syrup, like, I love all the different syrups, but daily, it's sugar-free vanilla.
I think that that's, like, the only time I ever really like well, hot coffee anyway, is, like, when it's cold. I can't drink hot coffee at any other point in time, and then when it's hot outside, I don't like iced coffee. I don't know why. Like, I've never really
Oh.
maybe because I haven't never really had, like, a really good one?
I could make you a good one. Full confidence. I'm an awesome
Mhm.
coffee maker.
I saw the last I think it was the last video you may have posted, and I was like, "Ooh, that drizzle looks good." And then you put that in there, and then, like, you mix all around, I'm like, "Damn, homegirl knows what she's doing."
Listen, I go in my kitchen and we have an Amazon Alexa with, like, this screen on it,
Mhm.
and I go on YouTube and I type in "cozy autumn coffee shop," and I click on one of the little ambiance scenes, and it plays coffee shop music, and then I just, like, get in my barista mode and pretend I'm a
Oh my
barista.
gosh. You
It's
could
so
have
therapeutic.
all of these different coffees that you would make every single day and be like, "All right, out the window." Like, who here in Nashville wants something?
Okay,
Put your order in.
A lady on TikTok did that. She started a coffee shop for her neighborhood, and
No.
I live our neighborhood is all old people. They're probably, like, all over the age of 70, but and they wouldn't like my coffee, but if I had a neighborhood with people that would enjoy my coffee, I would totally do that.
I could totally see you hanging out your window being like,
Yes.
"And what's your order?" and "Your order."
Oh, yeah, that'd be so much fun.
Something that I've learned about you recently is that you really love New Girl, and I was like,
Yes.
"I know that we clicked so well for lots of reasons, but New Girl being one of your favorite shows has to be, like, top tier."
Oh, you like
So
New Girl?
love it. Like, my 2 favorite shows of all time, Friends and
Mine
then New
too.
Girl. So
Yes.
because I think, like, New Girl is, like, I don't know, the 20s and 30-year-olds, like, version of Friends
Yes,
in our
yeah.
time where we really, like, could understand stuff. Does that make sense?
Wait, that I've never thought about why, because those are my 2 favorite shows. I've never thought about why I liked by both of those so much, but you, like, perfectly described it.
It is like, who doesn't wanna live in a loft with all of their best friends that are also
Yes.
uniquely different too,
Yeah.
especially during that time? So I have to ask, I have many questions. I could
Okay.
probably fill up an entire podcast episode talking about New Girl, but my first one is if you were one of the New Girl characters, like,
Yeah.
one that just describes you to a T, who is it for you?
Ooh, I feel like I don't this is such a horrible answer. I feel like I see myself in so many of them
Mhm.
because, like, the way Schmidt is about, like, organization and he likes a nice thing, like, I that part, I could see myself that way. I don't know that really I see myself in Nick at all,
Mhm.
even though I love him, but maybe
Love
really
Nick.
similar to Winston,
Mhm.
maybe? 'Cause he's like is he more quiet? Would you say he's more quiet out of everybody?
I think externally he probably is, but I think internally he's probably like the most scatterbrained, like
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like I do resonate with Winston, but I could definitely, in a lot of the characters, like, see things about myself.
I should have totally wore I have a crew neck with Winston on it, holding Ferguson,
Oh
and
my
it is
gosh.
my favorite crew neck. But I went with the spooky
I like
instead.
I have spooky too. Mine says spooky babe. This is actually Kalani's merch.
Oh,
So,
I thought so, and I do
yeah.
love that. I really wanted to get the one with the skeletons on that you had at MadCon, and then I just didn't roaming around a million times and just forgot to go back and get one. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to do you guys have them in stock? Because I definitely do want one.
Yeah, they're on the website. I think they're on there as t-shirts and sweatshirts.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I'll have to show you my new girl one because it's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think for me, like Jess on the outside,
Yeah.
because she's just like a know-it-all. She works with kids, like she like presents herself that way. And I
Right.
like to know a lot about a lot. And then I think on like the inside is I'm probably Schmidt. Like for the organization, for having to like have things in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I might let my ego run a little bit of stuff sometimes, but I usually check it much more than
Then
Schmidt
he does?
does. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's what my friend asked me. She was like, "Oh, you think that you're a Jess? No, you're definitely Schmidt."
You're like, "Oh, okay."
I'm like, "All right, maybe I should just like work on that just a tad bit, like maybe a little bit."
What's your favorite episode?
The one with the wig.
The one with the wig?
Yeah, when Megan Fox is on there,
Yes,
and
yeah.
my favorite scene is him like blurting out Beyonce lyrics,
Yes.
and he's like, "We be all night," and he's just like eating
Yeah.
nachos out of his ball cap.
I love, the episode where they are pretending to write emails to Schmidt.
Oh, the Halloween episode.
Yes, I love that
Mm,
episode, and then also, like, Cece's wedding when they're in the apartment. I was just, like, sobbing that entire which that's such a cheesy episode to pick, but I was
it's
sobbing the entire time.
beautiful.
It is so beautiful. I love it so much, and Jess's wedding I'm getting off on a tangent. Jess's Jess's wedding, in my opinion, I wanted to love it, but it just did not get the I didn't think that it got, like, the level of attention that it deserved.
Well, especially when you're like leading up to it in the whole series.
Like, we're all waiting for literally that, and then
Yeah.
it just didn't like, okay, have you seen The Office?
No.
Dang, okay, well, whatever, you need to watch it, but, uh
You are not the first person that has told me that, and I'm like, "Maybe I
yes,
really should."
you need to, but you have to get, like, a good season in before you get it and are emotionally invested.
That's
But,
probably
like
why it hasn't captured me as much because 'cause I'm not patient.
probably, but, Jim and Pam are, like, the main love story on there. Their wedding, when it came, I'm like, "Yes, this is giving me everything I need, like, this is satisfying me," but Jess's wedding, I just would have liked to have seen more for both of them.
Yeah, it was, like, real lackluster.
Yeah.
I think that my biggest disappointment with New Girl was when we found out that Schmidt's first name was also Winston.
Yes, yeah, I
I was like,
know.
"Really?" Like, I'm like, "Okay, it's funny, I guess, that you, like, may have done that," but I, like, just didn't see it. Like,
Yeah.
Winston is such a different name, and I felt like it was only for him.
Yeah, same, and Schmidt, like, they could have totally just let that be his first name.
Yeah, we could have, like, never known, and I think I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, I put that part of New Girl out of my brain.
Right? All the parts that we get disappointed and just
Yeah,
suck, we're like, "No, those don't exist."
yeah, to me, like, in my world, doesn't exist.
Which couple's your favorite? Is it Nick and Jess or
Cece and Schmidt,
yeah?
in my opinion, yeah. I think that they're such an odd pair,
Mhm.
and I just love it, and I think that they're very different, but I think that they're a perfect match.
They definitely are, and I think
Yeah,
Nick and Jess well, at the end, after, Nick kind of takes on his personality and all the things that he needs to be and stops letting, I don't know, like, fear run his life, really,
yeah,
then I think that they're perfect for each other too, and I like that Winston has Allie, like, I just don't think that they could have gone wrong,
yeah,
having all of those pairs together, and it's just like Friends for me.
yeah,
Like,
same.
I couldn't have seen anyone else ending up with any of them, and you knew Ross and Rachel were gonna be you had to. It was just
Yeah,
like Nick and Jess. I was like, I feel like they followed, like, the friend pot line
yes,
for most of the characters in their
yeah.
own New Girl universe.
That is true. I will say on Friends that I did kinda wish that Phoebe and Joey would get together.
Mhm. Could you imagine though? Like
That
her like aloofness and him being, I don't know, not of the smartest person too. Like, could you imagine the combo?
they may have struggled to, like, know that they had to do their taxes and, like, when to pay their electric bill and, like, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I don't think that long term it would've worked, but I would have loved to have seen them together at some point.
Yeah, I think that they were like the best of friends of
Yes,
all of them.
I
Like they were
agree.
the best friendship.
Yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
I love it. I could seriously talk about New Girl and Friends all day, mostly because I watched Friends for like, I don't know, 25 years of my life. Like my mom and my dad used to watch it whenever I was really little. And so it just always would be on. And then later, when I could actually watch it of my own volition, and I did, I was like, well, I love this show. I'm so glad that you guys have put it on for the last 14 years of my life before I could actually watch it myself.
Same, I always grew up with my parents watching it, and, like, back then, I obviously didn't know what they were talking about, but I even as a kid, I still liked the characters, and then when I got older, I was like, "Oh, you guys were onto something, like, this is good."
Yeah, like, no, I don't know about you, but I mean, I've watched shows and none of them really compare to
No.
either New Girl or Friends. Like, they could be really good ones, I have them on my list, but those are the ones that I could just watch over and over and over again.
I have a lot of confidence that once you get into The Office, it could be one of those shows for you.
It might be. I think the one thing in the first season, because I tried to watch it a long time ago, was them looking at the camera. I feel like they're looking at me and I feel like I have to go like this. Like,
Yeah, that is different because they break what is that? The fourth wall? I think they call that breaking the fourth wall, and
mhm,
they do that the entire show because it's a documentary or supposed to be a documentary.
right.
But, yeah, I don't know, I think you'd like it.
I'm like, I know why you guys are doing this, but you kind of look like you're like talking to me, and I'm like, I don't have the answers. I don't know what to tell you.
You're like, Don't talk to me about it."
Like, this is putting so much pressure on me to watch a show. But whenever I travel, I usually put on Friends or at least download whatever episodes that I want to because they go by so quickly and I'm never going to get bored if I watch all of my favorite episodes. But like whenever I was on a flight to Europe, like I went to Europe like 3 times in 1 year just because of love it in all of the countries that I was.
Yeah,
That I was in, so I would just watch season after season after season. But you've been around Europe, a lot lately. So
yeah.
how have your travels been abroad?
Oh my gosh, they've been so much fun. We've spent 3 months in the UK this year, which that is so crazy to me because every time we've gone, we've stayed for a month, so, like, it's like you're temporarily moving there.
Mhm.
Also spent, I think it was 2 weeks in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and I loved Amsterdam, probably favorite place I've ever been to.
Ditto.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you've been there, I forgot. Yes,
I
loved
loved
it.
it.
Yeah.
Well, watching Kalani eat a stroopwafel for the first time was probably, like, my favorite part of y'all's food journey while you
That
were there.
was a sexual experience to eat a fresh stroopwafel, like, I have never tasted anything that good.
No, and you can't, like, really get the same experience anywhere else unless you're literally getting it out of, like, a cart there or something.
Yeah, it was so oh my gosh, so good. And I feel like that I've never been to Paris, I would love to go, but I feel like Amsterdam is such a romantic city, and, like, so for he and I to go together, it was just so much fun, but love the UK, I feel like I've really got my roots in the UK now, like, we have friends over there, I know it like the back of my hand, sort of, because driving around somewhere so small for 3 months, you really start to, like, recognize places.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, the UK, you can fit it into Texas. It's either
Mhm.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So, like, it is small, and we've been all the way to the bottom and all the way to the top, so I love it there.
What's your favorite part? Because I know that you had gone to all of those different countries too. So what's one you could see going back to over and over again, or even, like, living there one day if you had the chance?
Probably never would permanently move over there. We definitely have talked about getting a flat and having, like, a second place to, like, live. Glasgow, Scotland was, like, my favorite. I loved it so much. Edinburgh, Scotland's another one. Edinburgh has more of, like, the aesthetics because it looks like Harry Potter.
Mhm.
Glasgow, I just love the people. They really remind me of where I live in the South in Tennessee, and the music scene there is really good, and just I don't know, a lot of the places in the UK, when people find out that you're from the United States, they can be a little judgmental,
Yeah,
I'll say. There's a lot of, like, stereotypes about being from the US, and some are true, don't get me wrong, but
of course.
in Glasgow, I just feel like they're not judgmental, and people, when they found out we were Americans, they were excited to, like, ask questions and get to know us, and, like, vice versa. I love sitting down and talking to people of other cultures because there's just so much to learn about each other, so I could definitely see getting a second place there.
Oh my god, that would be, like, the dream, I feel like, because, like you said, you can get so immersed in someone else's culture, and you're constantly learning.
Yeah, I love that, and when we went to Amsterdam, that was the first time that I had, like well, I've been out of the country, but that was the first time that I had gone and really spent a lot of time out of the country. And I loved being around people that I couldn't understand, even though a lot of them speak English, but to
Right.
hear Dutch and, like, all the signs are in a different language, I just think that that's such a good life experience to go somewhere that doesn't cater to you.
Right, like, I think that for me, traveling solo because, the 3 out of the 3 times I've been to Europe, twice, have been by myself.
That's crazy.
So, I had never felt so resourceful.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I could conquer anything. When it was, like, 3 a.m. and I stumbled out of this bar in Germany and I realized transportation, like, wasn't working all of the time, I was like, "How do I find my way back to my apartment?"
Did you find your way back?
I did, and it started to rain in the middle, and that was kind of awful, but, but I also, like, didn't feel unsafe
Yeah.
walking there. Now, I think if I did, like, downtown Pittsburgh, I think I would be freaking terrified. I
Yeah.
don't know why, but I just felt, like, very safe there, and I had to rely on my own resourcefulness. So, it makes me feel really empowered whenever I
Yeah.
travel, especially when I don't know where I'm going.
Same, I agree, and I just think that a lot of people in the US and, like, I've explained to people in the UK, I'm like, "You guys, if you've never been here, you don't realize how big it is."
Mhm.
And a lot of people in the US, because it's so big and expensive to travel, people don't have the luxury of going to other countries to experience other cultures. A lot of people, their travel is within the US. So,
Mhm.
like, I'm not saying that people have to do that because I know not everyone has the financial freedom to, like, go fly to Europe and mess around, you know? But I think if you do have the ability to, it's a really good life experience to put yourself out of your comfort zone and try to be respectful and adapt and figure out another culture.
Because it's also, at least for me, like, I felt like this big in
Yes,
the
yeah.
world, and it felt awesome.
I love that feeling, yeah.
I also could just be whoever I wanted to be, you know? Like, I didn't have I don't know, sometimes here I feel like I'm in a box, or if you've been known somewhere for a really long time, or maybe you haven't been able to go out of your hometown, it's like, it's hard to break free of the boxes that people put you in, but when you go
Yes.
somewhere that you're totally unknown, the box is gone. You can be your truest, most authentic self, and you don't have all of those expectations or people's projections, like, weighing on you.
Yeah, and whenever we go over to the UK, Kalani and I joke that we have, like, an alternate life. Like, the way that we are over there and the things we do are just completely different than when we're at home. Like, we are like 80-year-old grandparents when we're at home. Like, we're always at the house, we're always just hanging out at home, like, not ever doing anything crazy. Over in the UK, we would, like, go out at night, go to the bars, go to the clubs, like, and over there too, like, he is really well known, which not
Mhm.
saying I'm not saying that to, like, toot his horn or whatever that saying
Yeah,
is.
no, toot that horn. Toot toot.
Well, but I'm just saying, like, it really is such a alternate universe for us because we go over there and it's like you can't go anywhere without someone knowing you, and then we get to come back here where, like, no one cares. No
My
one
gosh.
no one gives an F, you know?
What a totally crazy distinction
Yeah,
from, like, going to an entire different country.
I told Kalani, I'm like, "Sort of, kind of, you're like Hannah Montana a little bit."
He needs to, like, wear a blonde wig when
Oh
he
my
goes
gosh.
over there.
He and I should switch hair colors. I could wear a brown wig, he could wear a blonde wig, and then when we're home, we're, like, back to our normal selves.
Right? Oh my god, retreating back into your homes and taking off all of the stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What would you say is, like, your favorite experience that you've had? Whether it's food related, haunted related, or just, like, travel related?
Do you mean while we're in the UK?
Yeah.
Favorite experience? This I really love there's a club there called the Cat House in Glasgow, and they play, like, metal, emo, like, pop punk music, and I love, love, love going there, because there's always people that watch his food videos, and we
Mhm.
just get to, like, hang out and have a good time with people that enjoy his content, and because they know that we're from the US and that we do a lot of food content, like, the conversations that I get to have while we're there are always really cool.
Does anybody ever send you anything from your spots to be like, "Oh, hey, check out, like, this snack from my country," or whatever? Like, do you make connections that way too?
Yeah, for sure, and then Kalani gets tons of snacks sent over from the UK, like, I can't even relay to you how many UK snacks are in my kitchen. Let's just say I used to have a kitchen table, it is no longer a kitchen table, it's just covered, you can't even see the table, and it's like
Oh my god.
just a mountain of UK snacks.
You
So,
could
like
populate your you could feed your entire 70-some-year-old neighborhood with
yeah,
all of your snacks.
I literally could, I could. So, like, people send recommendations, like, they text, like, email and, whatever, but they
Mhm.
also mail stuff over, so even when we're in the US, we're still getting to try, like, different things we haven't tried, which is really cool.
That is really cool. What do you think is probably the biggest difference between US culture and UK culture, whether it's with the community, the people, or the food?
The food, I think they have better quality food than we have just because the regulations on what's in their food are so much stricter than ours.
Mhm.
So, I love that. In terms of, like, maybe the way we are day to day, I think people in the US are a lot more talkative with each other. Like, even the stigma how here people in the South say that people up north aren't as friendly,
Mhm.
people up north in the US talk to each other so much more than people in the UK. People in the UK, like, when you walk past somebody, don't expect them to say anything to you. Don't expect to, like, make small talk with everyone in the grocery store. Like, that they're not really about that.
Mhm.
People really want to get to know you first before they, like, let you in. So, that was hard to get used to because 'cause I'm not very outgoing, but I do, like, make small talk and, like, I'll talk to anybody, and over there, I'm like, "Well, you guys don't wanna talk to me ever at all." Like, makes me kinda sad that you guys don't communicate with each other, but they're just that's just not how they do it there.
I think that I experienced some of that, and that probably makes sense as to, like, the image that's coming to my brain. I studied play therapy in Italy for a little while,
Yeah.
and the workers at the villa that we all stayed at in Tuscany was I mean, it was beautiful. There were people that very, like, well maintained the property. They had a chef on staff, like, a wine connoisseur, like, they had everything that you could possibly imagine, but none of them really acknowledged you as, like, the guests that were there almost, like, they were just there to, like, do the job, and I
Right.
kind of always thought, like, "Oh, do you just, like, not like that Americans come to this place?" And, like, we drank them, like, out of wine.
You're in Italy, like
Yeah, th
yeah,
but they were like, "I
you
know that
have
you're
to.
American, but you all drank so much of this wine." I'm like, "Well, 1, we pay for it,
Yeah,
so here's all this money, and 2, yeah, we drink a lot. Like, why wouldn't I want to drink Italian wine while I'm in Italy
yeah.
versus going home and giving, like, the same bottle of Chianti and bringing it back? Like, it's not the same."
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it definitely took some getting used to. Now that we've spent so much time there, like, I do not take offense to it, and obviously, again, like, I'm going and immersing myself in their world, so they don't need to adapt to me, But just not being used to that, I was like, "Okay, I can't," and I'm an overthinker, so I was like, "I can't
Mhm.
tell if you don't like me or if that's just how it is here." And then
Yeah, or if,
slowly
like,
I
my
learned.
German sucked or my French sucked or because I always when I'd go, I try to say something or, like, order in their language. I'm, like,
Right.
thinking about it before I go, and when we were in Spain, I asked and I was like, "Okay, cool. I know a little bit of Spanish." Like, that was the subject that I loved the most in school, so I was like, "I got this. Like, I will get us through Spain." I was talking to my best friend, like, "I get us through Spain, you get us through France. We both know the language well enough to, like, hold conversations."
Yeah.
And I get there and I tried to order for both of us and he kind of like laughed at me and he was like, "Yeah, sure, you can have X, Y, and Z." And I was like, "I thought this is what I was supposed to do to show you that I respect your culture and that I
Yeah.
don't expect you to know English in
Right.
order to communicate with me." Because when I first went, I was in Germany and there was this cute, cute, cute coffee shop and a little pastry shop right by my apartment. And I'd go in there in the morning and I knew they knew how to speak English because they would, like, say something to, someone else, but when it was me, they were like, "No," and I would try to use my like, the small amount of German that I thought that I had learned.
Yeah.
No, no good, and she, like, would
Oh.
not give I don't know if she just didn't like me, um, but she, like, would not give me the thing that I would, like, point to, and I think it's because I said the word wrong.
Oh,
Like, I think I
maybe.
said a different word, but I pointed to something that I wanted, and she
Yeah.
gave me the one that I said the word for, and I was like, "Oh my god, I would do terrible to live in Germany."
Need a lot of practice. I would be so horrible at that because I am not great at speaking other languages.
No, it's hard, but, like,
Yeah.
they grow up learning a lot of the time English as well, and
Yes,
I just
yeah.
wish the US had some sort of component like that when we were younger, to grow up
Yeah.
learning a different language because it would set us up for so much more success outside of the country.
Yeah, and I think whenever you grow up learning multiple language, it's always then easier for you to learn another new language
Mhm.
because 'cause you're already accustomed to not like, I don't know. I know, like, in the Netherlands, I think, they learn, Dutch, like, they do their Dutch class like we would our English class, and then they also learn English at the same time. So, like, to grow up learning 2 languages at the same time, that has to make it easier whenever you get older.
Absolutely, and I think
Yeah.
that it also helps your brain to develop and have new skills be introduced easily too.
Yeah.
Because our brain's so, like, malleable, so if you're learning new skills when you're younger and having the opportunity to do that even when you're older, I think that it makes it so much easier to learn new stuff when you've been learning a new language for years upon years upon years.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For
I would
sure.
have loved to speak French. I don't think that I get, like, the accent the way that I would, like, need to, but I hope that the next time that you go to the UK, you guys take a train or something and go to Paris because I thought it was gonna be, like, the bottom tier on all of the countries that we hit up that trip, but it was easily one of my favorite, like, probably top 3 favorite countries I've ever been to.
Oh, I've already told Kalani. I was like, "Did you know that we can take a train to Paris and then go to Disneyland Paris?" So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's already on my list. Yeah.
You're going to love it. Like, I thought, "Oh, the Eiffel Tower, like, what's really the big deal? I can't wait to go see it. It's gonna be really awesome." But, like, sitting on the river and just watching it sparkle at night, I don't know what it did to my soul, but it totally, like, transformed me. When we went
Yeah.
to Barcelona, I thought that was gonna be, like, my place. I don't know if it was just because we were at the beach and it was Spain, and I thought, "Oh, this is gonna be awesome." But no, I would, like, never go back to Barcelona ever again if it meant that I could go back to Paris 10 times over.
Yeah, I'm excited to go experience that.
Do you have any upcoming UK trips planned or
We do, in December, we're going. We're not going for a whole month this time because that's, like, Christmas time, and I wanna spend time at home with family and all that, but we are gonna go in December, I think, for, like, 2 weeks, and I'm really excited for that.
Nice. I'm excited to hear all about it whenever you guys come back. I'm going to switch over gears to a new segment that I've been doing in October called Cocktails and Conundrums. So, we're going to do 3 rounds. You're going to pick a number from 1 to 25 and I'll ask you the question associated with that number and then
Okay.
we'll both answer it and have some fun before I let you go enjoy the rest of your evening.
Perfect.
All right. Number 1 to 25. What number is coming to you?
22.
Cool. Um, oh my gosh, this is so funny from the tangent that we could have went on before. Do you believe that there are infinite parallel universes?
I am leaning towards yes. I really am. After all of the experiences that we've had, it's hard for me to say that those were just coincidences. You know, they've happened so many times. And that makes more sense to me than us talking with dead people. And I don't know. I just think that it's not hard to believe that time is just all jumbled
Mhm.
and we're just getting little blips of interactions with other timelines. I don't think
Every
that that's
time I talk
crazy.
about this with somebody, I always go back to I'm like rewatching The Flash right now. Love superhero movies, shows, and all that. And that's, I don't know, 98% of the show.
Oh, is it
Is that
really?
they, like, meet their doppelgangers from, like, Earth 90, and it's
Yeah.
all these different timelines, and it's like whenever you make a decision in one timeline, it creates a different alternative timeline where that you made the opposite decision, or, like, talking with Dylan from Haunted Nights when he was like, "Should have died in my car accident." Maybe I did, and just in this timeline, it was the only timeline that I actually survived it, and that's why I'm still alive right now, but maybe I died in all the other ones, or I
Yeah.
died in like 100 of the other ones or something.
Yeah.
And seeing it play out, even though it's on a show and it kind of sounds silly, but seeing it play out that way makes it so much easier for me to believe that we're living the exact same thing.
Yeah, same. I don't get the feeling that we're talking to dead people anymore, and we were somewhere this hasn't gone out yet, but we were somewhere and doing it was either Estes or we were using the Epic. Do you know what the Epic is?
I just actually watched it on the last episode that I watched. I think it was at the
Okay.
Obliner.
Well, we were using the Epic or Estes, I can't remember, and we were asking questions about my parents, and I was like, "Are they?" Because I told Kalani, I said, "It's really sad and depressing for me to think that if we do live these multiple timelines and lives, that in another one, I'm not my parents' daughter or my parents aren't together." Like that's
Hmm.
with having my parents both die, that was like really hard for me to grasp. And basically during this session, whatever it was we were talking to said that we do live like these different timelines and everything, but across all those different timelines, we have like our core similarities.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, like me and my parents, and maybe like Kalani and my best friend, like maybe those are my core similarities. And so, in all of my timelines, in some capacity, those are still my people, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. But it
Yeah.
was just crazy the questions and answers we were getting, like, that did give me a little bit of comfort because I don't know, it's just hard to think that, like, they were my parents for all these years, but then if this theory about time is true, in another plane that I don't even know them.
Right. Well, and I wonder if it brings you a sense of comfort too. And I mean, maybe a little bit of like sadness that maybe there is a timeline when all three of you are like still together and
Yeah,
experiencing all of the things that they can't experience with you here now.
yeah. I don't know if it gives me not much of any of it gives me comfort because, like, that doesn't fix how I'm feeling,
Of
like,
course. Yeah.
here, you know? And, like, I am Christian, so I do believe in, like, afterlife and heaven and, like, all of that, and people are all the time like, "That must give you comfort that you'll see them again one day," and I'm like, "I mean, yes, but, like, I am missing out on lost time." Like, here
Hmm.
right now, no matter how long I'm with them, I mean, heaven is eternity, but, like, no matter that, there's all these years on earth that I will never get back. So, I'm going on a tangent, but I don't know. It
It
is
doesn't fix your human suffering, though.
right, yeah, like, it doesn't fix how I'm feeling here, and that if I live to be 95, I could have had so many more years with them.
Hmm. And it's hard to, I'm sure, imagine all of these other either timelines, parallel universes, or whatever, where like maybe you still are, but you don't get to live that one out.
Yeah. So, it doesn't really give me comfort, but it is cool to think about the fact that maybe I do still have them in all the other planes of time.
And that you can still maybe like interact with them wherever they are in whatever plane of time that they're in. Have
Yeah.
you gotten them come through on certain things at all, or like have you gone maybe seeking out those answers, whether it was to like a medium or psychic, or like have you had any of those experiences?
No, I've had a pretty good boundary with myself of like I don't want to try to interact with them. Um, like when they did, they both died a year apart from each other, but Kalani was already doing content creation, so like that whole experience was very public for me, and so I got tons of messages and people posting about it and everything. And a lot of people were like asking for me to ghost hunt for them. And I was like, I'm not really comfortable with that. And it kind of like
Yeah.
bothers me that you would ask that. So I've never searched it out. However, I have had them come through. I had my dad do something at my house. He like played our favorite song.
Mm.
And then my mom came through one time and said my nickname. So I have gotten that, but I've never like actively searched it out.
Because I could, with the energy that we do put out into investigations or just like in the world,
Yeah.
I think that other entities or energy probably do sense if we're feeling some type of way. It's kind of just like, how a pet might know that, oh my gosh, my owner is going to have a panic attack. I'm just going to go sit on their
Yes.
feet or something,
Yeah.
So I think that like spirit would probably be able to pick up our energies too when we're feeling down or not.
Yeah, I agree.
Because my best friend had died about 10 years ago now, and I went to a medium recently. I call her my spiritual advisor because I've gone to her for like so much stuff, and mediumship is like her niche, but for some reason I've just never decided to go for the one thing that she really really loves to do.
Yeah.
And I went, and she had connected with him right away, and we had a mutual best friend, and he was with him like the day that he died, and he was like, yeah man, like I can't go visit our friend because every time I do I just know it brings him more sadness.
Yeah.
So I visit you more often because like you're more open to it, but like he's not. Like, can you please tell him that I would visit him more if I didn't think that it would make him feel worse?
That's really sweet.
And I was like, "Yeah, man, like, I will totally do that." And he said, "Tell him that, like, it wasn't his fault," and all of these things. And I think that, like, energies in the afterlife or spirit in the afterlife know what we're feeling and what we're experiencing. And I do think sometimes it creates a barrier if they're, like, visiting us or not.
Yeah, I agree. And I always am like, oh man, I hope I dream about my parents. And I don't very often. And I wonder if it's because they know that it might just like cause me more hurt.
Mhm.
Cause like when I tell you that we were so close, I'm an only child. So like it was the three of us. So like I just knew. I was like, okay, if they have the ability to, they will visit me in some way. And I don't really
Mhm.
get that very often. I think it might just I'm the kind of person that like if I can just put a wall up, this is probably not healthy, but if I put a wall up and block it out, like I can just keep going and I can do okay. And that's why everyone thinks that I've like handled their deaths so great. And it's because I just haven't really thought about it. If I catch myself thinking about it, I like put that wall up. So,
Mhm.
and my parents, they know me. So I'm sure that they're like, if we constantly like insert ourselves into her life, it's only going to make it harder for her to just kind of block out the noise and keep going.
Mhm. And I think
So,
sometimes we tend to do that,
yeah.
right? Like, because if we didn't, what quality of life would we lead if we let grief overcome us? And that's what it would
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like.
Yeah. Oh, I would be such a hot mess. I'd be sad all the time. So, I don't know if it's unhealthy, but I mean, it's let me be able to continue on. So, I'm
Right, like,
thankful
your
for that.
world gets to, like, keep spinning because if, like, you
Yes.
thought about it all the time, like, your world would just totally stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that, like, knowing when to, like, open the floodgates a little bit, not to, like, break the whole dam, but, like, to open them up a little bit and experience whatever grief that you have to, and then, "Okay, let's shut it up," right? Let's, like,
Yeah.
shut those walls up now, but, like, at least I got to, like, let some of that out. But I do wonder, like, if that is true for lots of our people that have passed on, right? Like, "Oh, man, if I did go and visit them, would this be better or worse for them?" And I think that they're always working for our highest good.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And so I just have to know, like, we had the relationship where they would literally do whatever as long as it was the best for me. So whatever they're choosing to do right now, it's because they know it's the best for me.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like that you have that trust though in them too, to still be your parents even in the afterlife.
Yeah, for sure.
So is there another one through actually I have 27 of them now. I must have added new ones since the last time. So one more from 1 to 27.
Let's do 14.
All right. If you could live in any fictional world, which would you choose and why?
Ooh, any fictional world. I've always wanted to be a mermaid.
Oh.
So I would either say a mermaid because I love the ocean. I'm not scared of the ocean. Doesn't bother me. Like whenever I'm in the ocean, I just am at my most calm. And I love that we haven't even scratched the surface in exploring all of what exists in the ocean. Like we've explored more of outer space, which is so crazy.
It is
So,
wild.
yeah, isn't that wild to think that we've
I really
explored?
never thought about it like that, but yeah.
Yeah, we like don't know what's down there. And I
Mm,
love that. So I would either be a mermaid or I love Tinkerbell and I love all the Tinkerbell movies. I would love to be a
mhm.
fairy.
Oh, I could totally see you as a fairy. I'm, like, picturing it now. That's so weird to say, but I'm totally picturing you as a
Yeah.
fairy currently.
When I
Oh,
was when I was
that's
growing
awesome.
up, you know how, like, all the little girls were obsessed with Disney princesses? Well,
Mhm.
Tinkerbell was mine, and everyone would always be like, "She's not a princess," and I'd be like, "Literally, yeah, she is, like,
She's
shut up."
my princess.
Yes, and she's way cooler because she flies and stuff, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
I really liked Thumbelina. Like,
Oh, yes, I love Thumbelina.
she was my girl.
Yeah. What
And
what
also not
alternate
very, you know.
what alternate universe would you live in?
Um I would like to go to like Harry Potter world because everybody seems to really be obsessed with it. And I just want to be like, well, show me what the magic's all about. So like let me live there.
You know wanna know something? I've only ever watched, like, 30 minutes of Harry Potter.
I've definitely not seen them all. But like whenever I was younger, my parents were so like religiously affiliated. And so I didn't get to I was very sheltered. Like I didn't get
Oh.
to do a lot of stuff. I didn't get to watch a lot of stuff. So I don't even think that I watched my first Harry Potter movie until I was like 26.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I didn't know anything about any of it, and both my best friends and roommates at least some points in time in my life, total Harry Potter like, have Harry Potter tattoos, Harry Potter
Yeah.
nerds. So, I'm like, "Can I just, like, really live there and see what all the hype's about?" Because it sounds like everybody likes it, so
I will say it is magical. It does sound magical and it looks beautiful, and, like, seeing some of the places in person that they filmed in the UK, I was like, "I get it."
Oh, I bet. Especially, like and I think that that would have been really cool if you were, say, like, a Potterhead or something, to grow up reading about it, visualizing it in your mind, seeing it on TV, and then actually being there
Oh,
would be
for
really, really
sure.
cool.
Also, if New Girl counts as an alternate universe, I would love to live in New Girl.
Ditto, I'm coming. So let's just, like, scrap our previous answers, we'll
Yeah, yeah,
just go
yeah.
and live in New Girl,
Yes,
and we'll be the other 2 people that they have in the loft all the time.
1000%. That loft is huge. There would be room for us.
Right? I'm like, rooms just pop up anyway there. I feel like so I think at one time, what, they have, like, 6 people, 8 people living there?
Have we ever questioned what their rent is? They're living in LA and it's a massive apartment. Like,
Right? Totally rent controlled.
yeah, no, I would love to live in New Girl.
I think that I would be a great character in New Girl because, yeah, rent doesn't exist. You have lots of friends to do whatever you want all the time. You get to meet Prince. Well, maybe in that universe, Prince will still be alive and we get to meet Prince too.
Yes, yeah. It would be a great universe to live in.
Well, I'm super excited to see you here in a couple weeks in Jersey.
Ooh, yes, yeah.
We'll catch up some more. It's going to be a really awesome time. And thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And for all of you listening or watching, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to be alerted of future episodes that happen here every Thursday. All links will be posted in the description. So check out Sav on Instagram and TikTok and follow her and her husband Kalani on all their adventures. Until next time, y'all. Cheers.
Cheers. Mine's way
Clink.
over here. Clink.